Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Michael here, Deeper States Mind and Wellness. Welcome. Today, I want to discuss negativity because I'm seeing tons of it out there. So many people are so negative. They're so negative about gas prices. I understand it's hurting you. They're so negative about what's happening in the war, whether they're pro, whether they're con. There's so much negativity in everything that we're absorbing, everything we're seeing, everything we're taking on into ourselves and making it become who we are as our dynamic process of negativity. I want to talk a little bit about how the brain operates and why it does what it does. Today is going to be very interesting because we're going to talk about what you can do to stop that negative self talk and what it's doing to you. Is it actually creating a problem for you, or is it just the way you learn to live? Or maybe you learned it from somebody else, and maybe your parents were negative and continue to bitch and complain about everything in life, and now you have become your parents. Maybe you're at that age where you think that it's just kind of you're stuck now, right? So today I want to talk a little bit about that process and how to stop that self-talk. How to get yourself in a determining place, into a place where you control what happens with you and you control how you grow and how your growth is going to be completely for you, right? There are people around that I want to say they kind of have their mind in the a place where they're not really thinking about anything going on and they stay focused on just themselves, and that's kind of not good either, right? Because then you lose complete focus on the world and what's happening around you, and then you focus only on one part of you. It's important to be able to focus on you as a whole, with the world as a whole, with the energy that we're absorbing and the energy that we're putting out. So I always like to tell a story that you never know what people are going through. And there's a gentleman sitting in the train, and he's doing a long commute, and he's got two kids with him, and the kids are just screaming and yelling, and they just are going off the rails, right? And the other gentleman sitting there is getting annoyed, and he starts losing his mind and saying, I just don't know what to do with this. Oh my God, do I say something? And then finally he just explodes. And he looks at the other person, the gentleman sitting there with the kids, who owns the kids and has kids, and he's like, what's going on with you? Can you not control your children? And he says, look, I'm so sorry. And he's just in tears, and he says, their mom just died, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle them. So you never know what's going on in the world around you. So you always have to live with compassion and live with an understanding that other people around you may be going through difficult times, and sometimes those times are worse off than yours. I mean, I understand gas prices are high. I understand that we are in a world right now where maybe we can't afford our Netflix for this next 4 or 5 months, and you have to pause your system, and maybe you have to, you can't take the Escalade. You're going to have to go back, and you're going to have to maybe take the Nissan this week or this month, and we don't know how long this is going to last, right? So the negativity is bombarding people left and right. I mean, it's a self talk really more than anything, and it's interesting because our mind is created in a way that it's built to take care of you. It's built to protect you. So the interesting thing is, let's talk about when we go in to do something crazy, right? I mean, you remember high school. We had those crazy shirt days where you wore some crazy shirt that was pink and purple and blue, and you had no problem with that. And then, you had these days where you had to go and actually stand up for somebody else, and you had that internal talk about, well, should I do that, should I not do that? I'm going to tell you, successful people don't have that internal talk. Successful people don't have that regret. As a business owner, I'll tell you, I mean, I throw money at something. If it fails, I take everything I've learned from that, and I learned never to go back and do that again. I don't sit there and harbor into the self-talk and the cesspool of shit, right? The cesspool of our mindset telling us how things are negative and how things don't work for us, and how, if I do it, it's gonna fail, because that's what it's been all the time. If you have that kind of self-talk, it's going to control your life, and it's going to eventually turn toxic. It's going to turn into a place where it becomes depression and anxiety, and we hang on to depression and anxiety easier because, remember, the brain is very much like a river. It flows through the easiest part that it can find. I mean, it goes through the emotions that are the easiest. It's built to self-protect you. So when you are absorbing negativity all the time, you have an option to either shut down the negativity or to absorb it and become negative yourself. And what I'm seeing right now with a lot of people around the world, around the globe, is that they are absorbing the negativity, becoming negative, and then spewing off of it and becoming the negative person that existed inside of them, because now that becomes an emotional sensation. It becomes a productive sensation, and it also self-protects. Remember, if you can complain about something that you don't have control over, then therefore you can continue to control, you can continue to complain. So what happens is that the unconscious behavior will take that uncontrollable control right now, and it gives it a way to be able to fall into form. The form is that you can complain about everything around you, and it doesn't really affect you. It affects you personally, but it doesn't affect you in a way that you're going to lose a huge portion of yourself. It's not high risk, right? So when people fail, business owners or everyday people fail, it's because they are allowing for the outside stimulus to go internal and for them to not take action in their life. Again, like I said, successful people do not allow that to happen. Successful people deal with something. If they grieve for a moment in time, and then they move forward and they say, okay, well, how do I get beyond this? How do I pass through this? How do I start to recreate the ideas that I can use in my life to get better, right? So, I mean, if you wake up in the morning and you're successful today and everything's going great and it's going really, really well, and you're like, oh my God, I hit the ball out of the park today. And tomorrow you wake up and you're feeling like you don't want to do something. Oh my God, I'm dragging. I don't feel like this. I can't do this. It sucks. I don't want to be here today. That emotion builds, right? Because remember, the brain flows through the area of less resistance. So if you wake up in the morning and you're giving yourself negative suggestions, you're going to harbor those suggestions and build upon them, if that's what your personality is. And that's what everybody's brain is built to do. It's built to self-protect ourselves. So you're going to grab a hold of what it is that you believe that you're able to protect yourself with. And it's not taking risk. It's not putting yourself out there, because the brain is afraid to take risks. Because every time you've taken risks as a little boy or as a little girl, the risk, if it failed, it hurt. It was difficult. And it's self-protective, which is great. It's kind of like the person that says, oh, I'll never fall in love because every time I fall in love, it's the worst thing ever. And then they close themselves off. What happens if you meet that right person at that right time and you've closed yourself off? You've shut down. You're protected, great, absolutely. You're lonely. You're feeling like you are stuck, but you have taken that and protected yourself. So I want to talk to you a little bit about people that fail. People that fail and wake up one day and they're great, they're successful. Then they wake up the next day and they're failing. Next day they're successful. Or they have 2 days of fail and they feel like everything's over, it's done, I can't do this anymore. I mean, look, I woke up this morning, the gas prices went up even more. I can't get to work because I'm failing myself. I can't take my children to their sports games. I can't do this, I can't do that. But yeah, you've done it in the past. You've done things in worse times than we are right now. Imagine if we were the ones that were being bombarded. If you're sitting in the shelter, I told a friend of mine this because she complains about gas prices every single day. Every day. And it's okay. Acknowledge it. Understand it. Maybe you need to modify things, right? Because in life, if you want change, you need to change. If you want change, you need to change. And a lot of people would rather sit in that cesspool of mindset because they want to self-protect, right? Oh my God, if I have to walk to the store today, oh my God, I don't think I can do that. So instead of doing that process and just taking action upon it, the brain's going to sit there, it's going to think about it. And it's not a simple decision as going back to high school and wearing that funky shirt, right? It's going to be about going in and finding out how you need to really evaluate things happening to you. And I'm going to tell you, successful people stay successful because they stay positive. If life's beating the shit out of you and you've landed on your back, thank God you landed on your back, because you can still look up. You can still see what there is for you to do. You can still see what there is for you to change. If you allow yourself to land flat on your face and you don't get back up, you're stuck. You're done. It's over. It's finished, right? It's done. No more, nothing else to do. So it's interesting because, as I said, if you want life to change, you got to change it. Life doesn't just happen. You're making life every day. You're going in and you're I like to always tell my my groups of people that when you cause a reaction, you're going to get when you cause change, you're going to get a reaction, right? But if there's no change, no action, you get no reaction, and it's very safe. That's a very safe place to be. If you don't ever change, if you don't ever take action, you'll never get a reaction. But if you want something, if you really in your wholeheartedly heart want something, and you really think that you can achieve it, shoot for it, achieve it, go for it, do it. Make it become something that is your process, your mindset. That way what happens is that you have it in your forefront of your brain and you're doing what is necessary for you to achieve it. Look, during the Great Depression, I mean, stores like Macy's, Bloomingdale's, these people didn't sit there and say, "Oh my God, we're in a depression. It's a horrible depression. You know, the economy's collapsed, and now we're not going to make another dime." They focused. How do we build? How do we make something better? So they went in and they ended up taking all of the way that people's experiences were in the stores, and they made the experience better. So then they were able to pivot off of that and become large stores in the country. The thing is that you can micromanage it down to yourself and say, you know what's happening to me right now? When I have a negative day, do I just lay there? Do I not get out of bed? Do I bitch and complain? Or do I get a positive attitude and I start getting my mindset to say, okay, you know what? I don't really feel like getting out of bed today, but I'm going to. And maybe I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for my kids. Maybe I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it today for my clients. Maybe I'm doing it just to get out of bed and to get a breath of fresh air. But the key idea is that you sometimes don't want to do things, you guys. There's times in your life that you don't want to do something. You're exhausted, you're tired, and the brain is going to go into that whole negative process. So it protects you, keeps you from having to go through experiences that are not good for you. It keeps you very safe, all right? So a lot of times what happens, people say, no, why is it hard to do little things in life? Well, because we're self-reliant of protection. We're built into being self-reliant, but we still protect ourselves. You know, if you go to the grocery store, you know what you're going to get. Imagine if you went to the grocery store and you didn't have a list and you didn't have any idea what you wanted, you didn't know what you wanted to eat, and you got bombarded with tons of thought. Maybe I should have nachos. Maybe I should be healthy tonight and have a steak and baked potato. Maybe I should be healthy tonight and but you know what? It's just easier to pick up the Snickers bar on my way out and then decide what I'm going to do about dinner later. I'll go through drive-thru. I'll go through fast food. Getting up in the gym, going to the gym in the morning. Some mornings I would wake up at 4:30 in the morning and be like, I just can't do this today. I can't make it to the gym today. I'm exhausted. The grind has to be that you continue grinding. And if you're going to go to the gym and you're going to get a 10-minute workout on a treadmill, shit, that's better than sitting there in bed and saying, I just can't do it and giving up. Again, remember, land on your back so you can see where you're going and get yourself up. If you land on your face, you're never going to get up. All right? It's really important. People say, oh my God, I'm 65 years old. What am I going to do? I wanted to write a book. I have seen so much regret in clients because they're at the age where they're 65, 70, and maybe they have cancer, or maybe they're just hitting the end of their lives. They had a stroke and now they're coming to the end of it. It's sad to see clients that say, well, I really wanted to. I really wanted to write a book. I really wanted to, I wrote a book. It's on Amazon, and it was a project. I thought, I really want to write a book. I want to leave something behind, and I'm going to do another one. When? I don't know, but it's not the highlight of where I'm at right now, and I'm okay with that. So put yourself in your mindset and know that when you have bad days, and you will, I promise you're going to have bad days, it's really important for you to get up, look around, and see what the negative processes really are in the world. Some days when you think, oh my God, I don't want to get out of bed, think about the person that's bedridden that can never get out of bed. Think about the person that's stuck and cannot get out of bed, all right? Not by choice, but by illness. That person has it a lot worse than you do. So get out of bed, do something. Even if it's not 100% and you're not grinding, but you're continuing to do the small things that better your life every day. And the more that you can do that, the more you're going to be successful. Every single person has a habit of hesitation, right? You see somebody, you're in a board meeting, and I've seen this a lot when I do talks with corporations. You're in a board meeting and you're observing, and there's one person that came in with just this brilliant idea in the morning. And as it starts going along the table, that person starts saying, well, Well, Bob had a really great idea, but if I say something, maybe my idea is not going to be as good. Or, he kind of said what I had to say. Well, it's kind of a dumb idea, I guess. Well, if I put this together and this together with what everybody else has said, maybe it's a really dumb idea. I'm not going to say anything. And that hesitation, there's this window of opportunity, right? Just like spring. Spring comes once a year. And if imagine if the world didn't renew. Imagine if Mother Earth never renewed itself during spring. My God, we'd end up with nothing at some point, right? Everything would eventually die off, and there'd be nothing building itself back up. So don't be afraid to open your mouth and say what you have to say in a positive way. Because when you say it in a positive way, it stimulates the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind starts saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to say it anyway, and I'm going to push myself to say it. And maybe somebody will get something from it. And they might. But the hesitation is that window of opportunity like spring. You have to renew yourself. You have to be able to put yourself out there. And it's okay to be afraid to say what you have to say, as long as you're doing it in a loving and productive way, because that helps you grow as an individual, helps you extend yourself into becoming successful. The people that say, oh my God, I'm 65 years old, what would I do? I mean, I experienced that over at the airline industry I was at, and some of them are still there. To this day, they're there and they're miserable. They're unhappy. They don't know what to do. They feel like they're stuck. You're never stuck unless you're mentally stuck. If you're mentally stuck, you're going to keep yourself there for the rest of your life because you don't take opportunity. You don't look at the positive things you have in your life. Look, my friend who complains about gas all the time, I wanted to just tell her, look, you could be in the basement of a home holding your cat, wondering if a bomb's going to kill you today or not. Wonder if your husband's going to come home to you, or if he's just dead somewhere lying out there dead somewhere. It's always worse outside of your doors, and in your head it's not. In your mind you think it's just bad, and it's going to get worse, and if you're down that rabbit hole, that can lead to depression and anxiety because you don't feel fulfilled. And it's so important to fulfill yourself. It's important to give yourself the ability to know that you are a good person, that you're successful. You look. Every single one of you who are listening to my voice right now, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, or it's on any of our podcasts, you know that you have showed up for yourself 99.9% of the time. You've never failed yourself, and you picked yourself up and you got yourself back on track. I mean, growing up, I had a neighbor that was on welfare for a long, long time. She won the lottery. She went back to welfare after the lottery money was over. At the final end of her life, she decided she was going to make some changes and start taking care of herself and take care of her family. Do it now. Don't wait to the end. Do it now. Start thinking about the things you can do. Wake up in the morning and give yourself just a little something to do if you're not feeling it. All right? Routine is important. The more routine you keep, the more successful you become. And if there's one aspect of your life that you're failing at, that you're not really getting any success at, please evaluate. Stop. Ask a friend. And the thing is, don't ask a family member because they're always wanting to keep you safe, right? Ask somebody who is not close to you. And say, hey, look, I've been doing this over and over again. What do you think? I mean, does this seem successful to you? And if they say no, then tool it, rearrange it. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at the mirror and the mirror's looking back at you, you need to satisfy yourself. You need to be able to come up with the understanding and the experience of what you need to change or tool to be successful. So the people that tell me that they're a certain age and they can't have nothing, oh my God, I want to just look at you. I want to beat you upside the head. I mean, look. Colonel Sanders made his first million after he was 65 years old. So he spent all that time before, who knows what he did. I mean, what the hell? What was he doing? And then at 65, he decided he was going to do something with himself. So if you want to write a book and you're in your 50s, write a book. If you are looking to change jobs in your 50s, find something else. We're in an economic situation right now where you can't succeed. It might not be doing what you were doing, but you can't succeed. I mean, look, man, the person that woke up this morning and had to go his McDonald's job probably didn't want to go work drive-through this morning, but he did it. And he did it because he believes that at some point that's going to be leading to something else. I work with a lot of young people. I have a young gentleman that has started a new job right after the pandemic cleared up. I mean, and hated it. He was busting his butt out in the heat, working a job that he loved. He had a passion for the game, for what he was doing, but he did not have a passion for the job he was in, and he held out for I think a year. And now he's moved into another job that he's making more money, and he's out of the heat. And he's, I think, at like $18 an hour now. And he's only been there for a couple of months. So project what you want, stay in the negative, stay out of the negative format, stay in the positive format. People always have it worse off than you do. And sometimes you just need to give yourself the reality check of like, where am I really? Is it, am I at the end of my rope for failure, or is it my mind telling me that? And that's why I want to leave you guys with that today, just because, I'm seeing a lot of it. It's so easy to jump on a bandwagon of negativity. And I'm not saying not to express yourself. Express yourself, get it out of your shit. Get it out of your system. Scream it to the world in front of your mirror. And then go back to saying, okay, now how do I make the world better? How do I add my influx of making things a little bit better? Do I do this or do I do that? I mean, Delta Airlines used to say to us all the time, you're hired for your flexibility. And you know what? You really are. Life hired you for your flexibility. So be flexible, but be positive, because the positive people succeed. Positive people, I don't know any negative person that's gotten really far, except for, well, there's a couple. But they at the end of their life, it's not turned out so well. It's important for you to keep yourself in that positive form. And I know there's days you don't want to do something. I understand that 100%. There's days I don't want to do something, and I understand that 100%. But change your mindset the moment you step out of bed and go to the shower and think about how horrible shit is really outside your door. And then come back in and say, okay, now, how do I make my stuff better, right? So that I can go out there and share with the world what I've got to the best of my ability. Because really, I'm developing myself within my mind. I'm not developing a bit with everybody else's negativity. Keep yourself positive. Let yourself grow, because the brain, once you learn how to create positivity in the neurology of your brain, it starts to thrive on it. It actually likes it. It brings it pleasure, because it's a challenge, and it becomes a success. And then that success becomes another success, right? Or if you fail, and I don't believe there's anything that's failure. I'm gonna tell you, as a business owner, I've never felt like, oh my God, that was just the worst decision I ever made. And I made some shitty decisions as a business owner, as a human being, right? But I can wallow in that forever and never make a decision again based on that experience, because that's what my brain would tell me to do. It would say, that hurt, that was bad, that you took a chance on this person, and this person didn't respond the way you wanted them to respond. Well, hell, if you took a chance on somebody, or you took a chance on something, maybe you're too volatile to take that chance anyway. That's self-talk. So you just take the chance, wish for the best, look at the opportunity, and if it did work, great. Take what worked, expand on that. If you got to where what you didn't work for you, learn what didn't happen, right? And move on. Set the next level of success. And you have to come into terms with what you believe you can do and what you believe you can't do. Because if you believe you can't do something, if you're gonna take a risk, right? It's not calculated, and it leaves your family homeless, and it leaves your children on the streets begging for money, then that's probably not a good risk. It's not very calculated. But if you think you can do it, and you've looked at every opportunity and said, okay, I can do this and this and this, then just get the positive sensations going. And if it's something that's huge, do small pieces. We call it chunkating in NLP, chunking. If you can chunk something and put it into little pieces, it becomes possible, becomes probable, becomes your reality. So I just want to leave you guys with that tonight or today, and have a great day. Have a good weekend. We're coming up to the weekend. Help somebody out there, and next time you're at that pump bitching about how expensive it is, or how much you're paying for food, tool it, find ways around it. This isn't going to last forever, and we're going to grow upon this and keep the attitude positive, because that's going to help you grow as an individual. It's going to help you expand and make your, at the end of everything, make your dreams be fulfilled more without having the anxiety and the depression and the sadness of how you're failing your family, how you're failing this, how you're failing that. Keep it positive and grind. Keep the grind going. Know that repetition's important. If you do something over and over again, it becomes part of who you are. It's going to the gym. I'm in an Adja gym because of COVID and different variants. But you know what? The idea is to get yourself back in. I'd rather you do something than nothing and stimulate in a positive sensation. We only operate on two forms, negativity and pleasure, right? I mean, why not make it all pleasurable? Why not make the pain be pleasurable of learning, and the pain that you learn be pleasurable as you move to the next level of your life to get the next success. So anyway, you guys, I wish you the best. And hey, check out our Monday group. If you are a business owner, or you know somebody who's a business owner who is struggling to come online, or vice versa, maybe they've always been online and now they want to start a brick and mortar, join me on Mondays. It's open discussions. I'd like to get people eventually into a private group where we can actually talk and teach courses and show people how to manage themselves for online marketing, manage themselves for how do you start a business? Do you need a business license? Should you talk to an attorney? Should you be an LLC? Should you be incorporate yourself? I'd like that to become that eventually. And sign up for our email if you'd like. You can DM me. I can put you on an email list. We can stay in contact. Those of you who are enjoying this and who watch the replays of this, like it, subscribe to it, and subscribe to our page so that we can keep giving you content like this. I love doing this. I think it's so important for us to have a clear mind and have an idea of what we're doing and why our mind and our body is doing what it does. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend. I miss you guys all. We'll see each other soon with live events as we continue. Take care, and again, have an excellent, awesome weekend. Go out there and change somebody's life.
I think these videos are brilliant, and I'm sure you will like them too. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell.